Support WrestleTalk!
Follow us on Twitter.
Evolution! It's been happening for thousands of millions of years. And only now are we putting on an all-women's wrestling pay-per-view in WWE. It's about goddamn time. Because Evolution has proven all-female fighting to be great. There's Stardom, Pro Wrestling Eve, all the dinosaurs were female in Jurassic Park, and that turned into one hell of a battle. We'll skip over the whole frog DNA thing and them turning male. Unless Sasha Banks is going to turn into Sasha Manx at this show. Evolution is happening this weekend. 50 women from then, now and forever will take part in what is sure to be an amazing event, even if WWE have built like zero hype for it. I'm Fakidor Laurie Blake, Luke Owen is on heckling duties, and these are my predictions for WWE Evolution. The historic Women's Battle Royal. Picture the scene. You're WWE, you've got this incredible roster full of talented women like Asuka, Naomi, Nia Jax, Ember Moon, Dana Brooke to a lesser degree, the Iconics also to a lesser degree. And you've got this amazing set of legends from the past willing to come back and take part in Evolution too, like Ivory, Molly Holly, Kelly Kelly, Michelle McCool and Alundra Blaze. How best to use the combined forces of this talent then? Stick them all in a battle royal. Genius. Basically, it's a smaller replay of the Women's Royal Rumble, but without the drama of countdowns and new entrants coming in, or any surprises whatsoever because everyone's been announced.
Do you think people are still going, eh?
I hope so. That's how I feel about most of this show. You didn't try, WWE, did you? You had so much potential. That makes it also really hard to call a winner. There's so many people in this. Naomi has form at winning the Women's Battle Royale at WrestleMania. Asuka used to be pretty good before her gimmick was she's mates with Naomi. Nia Jax is pretty much always dominant. Ember Moon has barely lost since she joined Raw, but also somehow hasn't managed to achieve anything. So then to do a quick bit of elimination, I think Nia is obviously going to be quite dominant early on, but then she'll get the classic monster thing of being ganged up on and then lobbed out by a load of people. Ember will go because even if she won, they do nothing with it. She's being eclipsed by all the other stars currently. As for Naomi and Asuka, maybe this could be the start of Asuka's heel turn. Not fully turning her, but turning her on her best mate a little bit here because they were so close in Mixed Match Challenge, they stopped fighting and danced in the middle of a match because women are friends, and now they also dance in WWE.
Wrestling!
Way progressive! So imagine that Asuka chucks Naomi out when it gets to the final three and then lobs whoever the other person who is left in out two. Oh, I don't know, say Dana Brooke. She's beautiful-minded her way somehow into the final two of the Battle Royal, and she gets chucked out by Asuka. This at least suggests there's going to be a rift between these two, setting up a potential feud down the line, maybe when Asuka goes full heel turn. And there's actually some story coming out of this Battle Royal, because otherwise it's just a load of women they didn't know what to do with doing something. So I'm saying Asuka because well, I don't know why, really, because mostly because
Just because.
Otherwise, she should leave. She should go back to Japan and go back to being really good. Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya versus the Riott Squad. This is lackluster booking at its finest. And I mean, sure, it's a great way to get 6 deserving people on the show. It's all been kind of rushed in the setup in the last 2 weeks and only really confirmed on the Go Home show this week. And yeah, I know some of this is obviously to do with Sasha Banks' much needed time off, but they could have started building this while she was gone. They could have had the Riott Squad beating on Bayley and Natty in different sections, them two teaming up, still getting beaten up because of the numbers game, and then Sasha returns for the save. Instead, they've just had Sasha come out to accompany Natalya to the ring.
Well, in all fairness, they did use mustard on Natalya's door. She needed the backup.
Oh yeah, terrible. How could they? I love the fact that the Riott Squad's whole gimmick is, we're like anarchy. They had all these promotional posters this week being like, we're born for chaos. Chaos is mustard. Chaos is knocking things over when they should be stood up. Brooms down. Lights, don't need them. Do what we want, Riott Squad. I'll fix this properly now. That was all for drama. The boss and hug and heart and shoulders, knees and toes connection obviously go into this with the star power of 3 former champions. But the Riott Squad have been strong recently, which obviously in wrestling logic usually suggests they'll go down on the pay-per-view, but just this week the commentary team were saying that they see Ruby Riott as a future women's champion, and that's not normally the kind of thing you get out of WWE commentary, who are very scripted by one Vincent McMahon. And if Riott is going to be a future champion, she could go into a feud here with Ronda Rousey, because this is something for her to do after she's done obliterating the Bellas.
This is the exact same prediction you gave for Super Showdown.
I'm going to keep giving it because it's going to happen. And I feel like this does tie into what happened at Super Showdown, because Ronda, double-armed bar Morgan and Logan, but she didn't get her hands on Ruby Riott. And I think it makes sense to have this feud with the Riott Squad, because it continues furthering the mystique of Ronda Rousey. If you want to build her up to be the baddest woman on the planet, you want her to take down more people than just like one person. 3 people, a whole team, a squad even, if you will. I think for the purposes of setting up a feud with Ronda Rousey, the Riott Squad should win here, because it gives Rousey something to do until Mania, when apparently the Charlotte Flair thing is going to happen. Then again, this is WWE, so B&B will definitely win. I'm sticking with the Riott Squad though, because I live in hope. The Mae Young Classic Final. Toni Storm versus Io Shirai. Io Shirai. She's from Yorkshire. I don't know why she's...
Hey up, Shirai.
Hey up, Shirai. This is a hard one to call, isn't it? Both are incredible performers and totally deserve an NXT Women's title shot. But to quickly go through some spoilers, which may be useful in this particular prediction, so shut your ears if you don't want to know, and shut your eyes if you can lip read or you've got captions on. Toni Storm is also a finalist in the tournament to determine the NXT UK Women's Champion against Rhea Ripley, that has been taped and isn't due to air until, we imagine, sometime in December. Which is also why I won't be talking about the rumoured NXT UK women's matches at Evolution in this video, because, to be honest, they're unlikely to happen. Anyway, Toni loses out to Ripley in the tournament, so if she loses here to Io Shirai, she will be a double finals runner-up, which is actually probably quite a good thing for her character. Weirdly, we'd also get a bit of a repeat of last year's Mae Young Classic if Io wins, as another new Japanese signee takes the victory, so she'd be kind of following in the footsteps of Kairi Sane. But then again, if she does win, she'll face off against Sane for the NXT title, and then we get to witness a rerun of some of their amazing matches in Stardom, but in a WWE ring, which is where dream matches go to die, I guess. The other thing is, I guess WWE does love to swerve you, so I guess maybe Storm wins? I don't know, it's so hard! To be honest though, I do think you get more out of Io winning, as no doubt she'll be full-time NXT US, whereas Toni is probably going to be more of an NXT UK kind of gal. So I'm going to go with Io Shirai. Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. After months and months of bullying, Sane won the title at TakeOver Brooklyn 4 in August, and this is where Baszler's going to get her rematch. And if Sane comes a cropper and walks the plank or develops scurvy, other pirates dying jokes, she will be the shortest reigning NXT Women's Champion of all time. Fortunately, pirates like to bury stuff. Hey, pirate jokes! Arr. Because if Shayna wins, she's going to be the first ever 2-time NXT Women's Champion. And I, as a massive Shayna fan, a member of the Shane Nation if you will, wouldn't mind seeing that whatsoever. But there is plenty of talk, on the other hand, of Baszler moving on up to the main roster fairly soon though, where she would no doubt be thoroughly underused, but could be a potential stablemate with Ronda Rousey, or an excellent foe for her as well, which I think is my preferred option out of the two. So it seems more likely in this case that Sane would win and then face off against either Toni Storm or Io Shirai, hopefully Io Shirai, so I win, in what would no doubt be a classic match somewhere down the line. But then you got to imagine, what if Baszler does win? 1, I'll mark the out, and 2, she would be the one to face Io or Toni, and that is definitely a match I want to see. So yeah, the elbow is cool, and the sliding D is fun, Sane, but you can't really just beat standing on someone's arm really hard until it breaks. That's my jam. I still think Sane's going to retain though. She's a pirate princess, and Shayna is the sorry people, to quote Wife Swap from 15 years ago.
Cultural references.
Cultural references. All of mine come from ages ago. I'll just make a 16-bit indie game of all my references. It'll be fine. Trish Stratus and Lita versus Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. I mean, there's a big old injury spanner in the works for this one. It's rumoured that Alexa Bliss is injured and has been pulled from live shows for a time and might not even make Evolution. Which is possibly why Alicia Fox was involved in the beatdown on Raw this week, setting her up as a player in this feud should the worst happen come Sunday. And the worst happening is Alicia Fox is involved in this match. I bet WWE wish they kept this as 2 singles matches now, because Mickie James and Lita would still pop off the card as a really good match. And I'm sure they could really easily then go and find someone else for Trish to take on from somewhere else on the roster.
It'd just been Alicia Fox again.
No, because it could have been anyone though. It could have been it could have been Asuka. It would have been Alicia Fox. But it could have been Ember Moon, it could have been whatever. The problem now is because it's a tag match, you have to have it be a mate of Mickie. So it's only Fox or Alexa Bliss. She's Mickie no mates. So with all the injury stuff in mind, it's now Besties Best for Business, with the worst name ever, versus Mickie and Fox, which sounds very Disney. The rumour is that Lita and Trish, the Besties Best for Business, will be sticking around as a tag team going forward and potentially working other major events. So I feel like them picking up the win seems highly likely. And also, is WWE going to have Lita lose to Alicia Fox? Are you kidding me? Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair for SmackDown Women's Championship. I boo the woo. This feud has weirdly been both good and also not gone the way that anyone wanted it to at all. WWE wanted us to boo Becky and cheer Charlotte. The crowd wants Becky to be a badass and win and not resort to cheap heat tactics like, "You never cheered for me," literally as people are cheering her or getting DQs to retain the belt. With that in mind, this has now been booked as a first ever last woman standing match, which is pretty awesome, but also heavily plays into Charlotte's hands as she has a leg-based submission and can essentially hobble Becky. And there are also reports that Ric Flair will be in the building, so that kind of all points towards a Charlotte victory, and the idea that the long-term plan has always been rumoured to set Charlotte up as a challenger for Rousey at Mania down the line somewhere. So, interestingly, with all the lawsuits and the fact that Charlotte can't seem to get over as a babyface, the rumour is that WWE are kind of cool on this idea and want to put it on the back burner for a while. So I can see Becky winning, and I really hope she does, but through some sort of interference, saving face for Charlotte. What I really want to see though is the double turn go through, because then Becky goes full badass stone cold face, whereas Charlotte goes full heel, and Becky still wins because she's so flipping over. Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella for the Raw Women's Championship. The Bellas are back, and they return on Raw as legends and heroes, a version of history taken straight out of Bizarro World. They've already been best buds with Ronda, and they've definitely tried to steal her spotlight a few times, like hopping in the ring for a celebration when she won the title, not tagging her during a match against the Riott Squad. They've been busy mates with her backstage, offered to help her set up a lingerie business should she suddenly want to do that instead of breaking people's arms. And then they turn on her and beat her up, going all evil. As if they weren't evil before. So now we get the baddest woman on the planet versus the worst woman on the planet. I'm joking, she's not. It's fine. And Nikki is also bringing Brie as backup. A blessing or a curse? Ask Daniel Bryan. Since the beatdown, the Bellas have redubbed Evolution the Bellalution, which to me sounds like a laxative. And Ronda has called Nikki out as a hanger-on, someone who rode John Cena's coattails right into the top of the women's roster. There's got to be a better way of making that sound like I'm going to say. Now, again, with this rumour being that Ronda and Charlotte is going to happen at Mania, which means that Ronda is totally going to win. And even if the Charlotte thing doesn't happen, it's highly likely Ronda will be the one headlining WrestleMania as champion. Soz Nikki. I don't write outros for these, I just stop talking. It's much easier. So those were my predictions for WWE Evolution, but what do Luke and Ollie think? Click the video on screen now to find out, and give us a subscribe to stay up to date on all of the latest wrestling news. I've been Fakidor, and that was Lucha.